Hello students, I am Miss Apurba Paul, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Patna Women's College. Today, I will give a brief introduction to queer studies. Queer studies is the academic field of study that deals with the issues of sexuality and gender identity of the LGBTQIA+ community. The LGBTQIA refers to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex and asexual respectively. The plus sign denotes all other different sexual orientations that words cannot fully describe. Queer cultural studies emerged out of the gay and lesbian right movement, which later on developed into a part of cultural studies. PK Nair defines it as an attempt to redefine identities and carve out a cultural and political space within the dominant heterosexual paradigm to simply stop being invisible or the perverted or sick other of heterosexuality. This field of studies is based on the queer theory and its attempt to address the issues that concern the queer. It surrounds the defining of the term queer and to understand the problems related to the coming out of the closet. The term queer has gone through a lot of changes in getting a proper definition. It begins with the Oxford English Dictionary, redefining it as strange, eccentric or odd. The word was associated with everything that was strange and uncanny. This strangeness was with the inclination of their sexuality. Later on, it was used to signify something bad, unworthy and untrustworthy. It was around in 1894 in the letters of John Douglas that the word referred slightly to man who loved men. The term got popularized for a while and was associated with all kind of negativities. It was later on an Austro-Hungarian journalist, Karl Maria Benkert, who coined the term heterosexual in 1869. The print media regularized the terms and used it as a slur for homosexuals. The terminology gave way to queer theory. Queer theory looks at the history of cultural representations of the gay and the lesbians as divine, sick, and criminal, while foregrounding sexuality as an important category of critical analysis when dealing with cultural texts. It moves between literary analysis and activism because it shows how cultural representations contribute to a very real material oppression of the homosexuals. It focuses on understanding and addressing the matters of sexuality in cultural contexts. This deals with the representation of the homosexuals in the politics of cultural representations. It is a challenge to the existed and established concepts of human identity. It also questions the normative that was set for the relation between sex, gender, and clothing. It even presents a resistance towards the society and the way the subjectivity of the self is continued by the society. It tries to destabilize the whole thrust of heteronormativity. Now, heteronormativity is the aspect of accepting the heterosexual to be the norm. This term was coined by Michael Warner in his essay Fear of Queer Planet, published in 1991. Kaustav Bakshi and Rohit K. Das Gupta in their book Queer Studies, Text, Contexts and Praxis comment that heteronormativity stigmatizes and makes out any sign of deviation from the alignment of a sin or pathological abnormality, thereby generating a deep-seated phobia for those who challenge the hypothesis. This idea of heterosexuality is developed from the essay by Andrene Rich named as Compulsory Heterosexuality and Lesbian Existence in 1980. She was challenged the normative that in terms of sexuality, it is heterosexuality which is the most preferred one. She comments that the society has made heterosexuality as compulsory. It is not the individual but the cultural and social constructs which decide the heterosexuality for everyone. She says that heterosexuality is presumed the sexual preference of most women either implicitly or explicitly. In none of these books, which concern themselves with mothering or sex roles and even relationships and societal prescriptions for women, it is compulsory that heterosexuality ever examined as an institution powerfully affecting these, or the idea of preference or innate orientation even indirectly cautioned. Thus, queer theory looks at number one, the general construction of the sexuality in discourses of medicine, law, or religion. Secondly, it talks about the popular representations of the gay or the lesbian. Thirdly, the public understanding of alternate sexuality. It also deals with the institutional, either religion, family, medicine, and law structures that undergird popular representations of homosexuality. The hidden history of homosexual writing and representation, and the link between sexuality based oppression and other discriminatory forms such as patriarchy and racism. It also deals with the geography of sexuality with specific reference to ghettoization of gays and homosexual. The major objectives of this theory are to destabilize identity markers which are considered to be essential by the society, and to consider everyone as equal and respect every person's sexuality. It aims at resisting the heterosexual culture completely. It gives importance to the idea of sexual justice, which should also be a part of social justice. It wants to fight for the injustice that is meted out to people for being homosexual. There should be equality in the representation of male and female sexuality. Thank you.